Hello, beautiful people, back on the Bitcoin train. Yep, let's take the eye off the needle there and give you the lowdown here. So, a little bit of a update on the BTC. So the key point that has been a bit of a dilemma for us, and we really don't like, is descending triangles as structures for continuation. However, we will tell you that we recently on our premium reverted bull. After flip-flopping like, as I say, a prostitute's knickers, we were up and down. And I feel no shame about that. We were changing our mind immensely. Descending triangles as continuation patterns are a little bit shitty, broadly speaking. They are not consistently reliable, and there are problems with them. We've had a lot of dip support over here, but it's all on a horizontal level, and there was a lot of selling coming out of this. Across the top. So we don't like that as structure. In fact, covered it in our recently detailed content to that point. Anyway, within that, there were bullish. So this was a bearish overtone for me, and I made a number of comments about that on the bearish. There were bullish items too that I didn't like so much. We'd suggested a while ago that this would sell off and resolve to the low side, to the downside, this structure. That was over there, that little piece over there. It did do, but, and here's the key point, it certainly wasn't ready to trigger the sub 7K or even the sub 8.8K level. And it came back down and found its support again and came back and invalidated that bearishness. We were able to get out, and I'll explain to you why, but we didn't make anything. And I also ate a little bit of red on that spike because I'd got in early and ate a little bit of red on that one. I reduced 50% because I didn't like the momentum, and then fizzled. I saw it starting to fizzle. I got out half. I made some of it back here, but I'll explain where we got out because there's also something else that's been going on into this. It's been making an absolute devil of us. Look at me, your cameras, I'm hiding behind my mic. How can you do that? Let's do it like that, a little bit lower. Get your head down there, you long giraffe. Okay, so show you a little bit of the drawing. There's been falling wedges in each of these, and what I highlighted in the end to the community, although as I say, I've been up and down on this one, it's made a fool out of me, is that the falling wedges are in every instance have broken to the upside. Whoops, some alerts are popping. We're getting up and we're going. That's great because we're long. Here we go. So you can see, yep. Whoops, draw your lines. Go back into draw mode. Go away, you nasty thing. It's all getting too exciting now. FOMO. No, we're in. We're okay. No panic buying. So essentially you had kind of the very big spiky impulse, a secondary and a third, and you based out slightly with a slightly ascending level, and you popped out of your wedge right there. That's terrible scribbling, isn't it? Let's be neat. You popped out your wedge there at that conjuncture. You got a flatter falling wedge and you popped out there. That was the point we knew that the shorts that we'd got in during this period were going to run out. That was a trigger to the downside. We got some of that profit. Then it was in a grinding up, really in that channel. It came to the other side of the wedge. Boom, you got to get out. Again, the wedges popped to the upside. So now I learned a lesson after two recognitions of this event. The falling wedges are popping to the upside. And as I say, it's been a difficult lesson to learn, and it's been a nasty structure. I don't like being too actively involved in descending triangles in any form of a trend. Bring that thing a little closer. The dynamics are really weird here. So overall, we've been in a falling wedge again. We had the sell-off, we had the rejection. We didn't do the full 11K. That would have made me very strong bullish. I said, please don't stop at the 10,750 to the 10,9 zone. Do the 11K run, then we can flip bullish. He didn't oblige entirely. He came close, but no cigar, 10,949. He's rocking and rolling now. Look at that, doing this as it's happening. All those alerts. You've got to set your tripwires, guys. Use them. They'll make sure you don't miss big moves. So it's getting a little bit impulsive bullish, but still nothing to get don't get too excited. So we've got a little bit of that and a little bit of that. You can see we've got a structure drawn here, and we have now officially resolved to the upside. This I'm going to drop the time frame. There was the break of that falling wedge, which was smaller, and it's continued to break to the upside. By the way, this doesn't prove categorically that this can only be a long upside move. We can go in here, we can go in here, we can get up to there, get hit really hard and do that. I would say it's the probability, but in this particular setup, which has made a fool out of us, nothing is for certain. So those are the kind of draws I've done. I'm going to show you on a smaller time frame a little bit. You're getting to see a little bit of our analysis and what's going on in the premium area. Now, what I said about these final three lows, I'm going to take it right down into this 15-minute level, is that you started to get what I call the bottoming out. So we're in our wedge structure. Let's leave the eyeball on, shall we? We were in our wedge structure, and you got the test of the lower end of the range of the wedge again, which was nerve-wracking when you got in long already on the base of this triangle, thinking it might break there and pop out, and then dips again for another time. It did one extra dip that it didn't do in the other wedges, and that was nerve-wracking. Then it made these three lows, marginally lower low, and then failed to make a new low, and that is smiley face. There's the three lows on impulsive behavior. Then it ran into resistance on that previous floor of the triangle there and there, sold off the second time, came and had a look, rested, came and sat on that level that's been significant, and it's actually now making a bullish up move to what we'd call our axis level and the halfway mark between that. So if it goes up and makes a nice decent move here, it could then pull back and set up another continuation pattern and get real slow. We'd like that to be a more clear-cut one, a more upside basis biased one, and also go super low volatility after a while. That allows us to squeeze our risk and to trade. As you can see from that 10,949, that last height, from there, if we are running that, that is certainly an upside for me. I don't want to see it do 9,856, which it has now been moving away from. The good thing about these three lows, one more time we draw it, the good thing about these three lows that were such plunge is that they proved and tested the support at these levels again. Look at that smiley face. Let's give him eyelashes. Is this me, Mr. Clean? There. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's me. See the hairstyle. Anyway, out you popped. That's the return move that you sometimes get as well a little bit with wedges. And now you move in a little bit away. Is it super powerful? It's decent without being single-minded. Indicators, you can check your volume, put the volume back on, so it's starting to look like it might give an upside pop. Now I want to just say to you that descending triangles can overperform immensely to what we call our setup targets, but they can also fizzle. That means they can trigger, go that 10,949, go marginally higher than the previous high by a little bit, and then come down really hard and not make target. In other words, they're unreliable. I've just covered this content in our new recording that we're doing to amazing high standard, and we got all the diagrams on it. Yeah, I have to say that you can't be overconfident with anything that comes out of this descending triangle structure. It could absolutely, all options are open. This is why it was a low probability setup and made a monkey out of me and many others, is that you'll be flipping and you'll be dropping your pants up and pulling them back up faster than you can say. Like I said, schizophrenic prostitute you shall be as you flip between bull and bear. And that's a good thing, because flipping is good, by the way. People that go, yeah, you don't know what's going on. No, I'm just reassessing the latest information that's being brought to me. What tends to happen is we're getting to a business point where it's going to truly, when something is being ambiguous, but is going to do. So here's the whole structure, and this is the bit everyone needs to hear, because there'll be people, the yay boo crowd will be out again. When you have something that's totally ambiguous, but is going to probably give you a highly impulsive event, you will just be all wrong and right at equal measure. And what tends to happen is only closer to the final event does it eventually start to give you the clues. So the falling wedges were bullish. Why? Because they resolved to the upside. They did for the first two, and we felt it would do it again for the three. But within that, it's all part of a descending triangle because it's had a lot of selling across the tops. This is why I've said and continue to say it's a particularly devious and ambiguous structure. And you can't fully take the bear option out of the equation here by any means at all. And even if you do trigger the 10949, which I've identified as a level, and I'm giving that to you to take away, that doesn't mean it's going to go to what we call our target, which would be in and around the 15.5 levels. Why? Because they're not always consistent. There was a heaviness across the tops. That said, for now, back to Mr. Clean Smiley Face, there is clear proof that it's standing on a level again that is higher. In every instance, and amazingly, I don't have my 10K line. I just want to highlight the 10K line. This needs to be put in. I've got so many Bitcoin platform drawers, and I don't want to ruin or take any of them away. The Bitcoin 10K line, and I'll pull it through right the way. The whole level is such a key level of significance is the phrase we use, and it's no surprise that Mr. Clean Shiny Face and clean cut haircut is all happening just through the running. We were also doing our key levels of significance, recorded fresh new content, and we talk about exactly this, that major key levels are always just run because everybody cannot be executed at the 10K mark. There's a lot of people, a lot of pending orders. They all flood into the system. There's a bid and an ask stack. It suddenly gets a little bit active in there. The value buyers are coming in. So what do you tend to get? Just run. Just run with a dip. Just run with a bigger dip, but only marginally lower. And then, as I've already mentioned, you've got your rounded bottom. So overall, this is a bullish development for Bitcoin, but I want to say it's still in the lower half of what we refer to as our funneling area. If it continues to get above the 10.4 level, it moves into the top half. I would expect it to move up and square up a little bit and then go dull again. It's going to have a few moves up and down, but then I expect, given the breadth of this area from our stop level to when we think that this is a big time frame descending triangle. This is not a 15-minuter. You know, I have to go into the daily and I will really squish the 4 hour to get the formation of this. This is some big ass consolidation. And if it turns out to resolve upside and it has a very high momentum, which is still possible, although less predictably reliable, because of the size of the pattern, and the squeeze of the volatility and the lowness of the average true range that we've traded in, you could get a fairly substantial move, which could do the overperformance. But it could just hit into that selling wall that was across the top at 13.9, the secondary top in and around the mid-12s, and then again in and around the 11Ks on that bigger time frame, and could hit that wall of selling, and then boom, it fizzles back down again. And then you end up with the descending triangle as left shoulder. You've got this marginally higher point that could be head and shoulder. You come selling back down really hard and revisiting the 10K. Instead of just getting a sell-off now, you could be looking at a sell-off you know, a month or two from now, which could still go to sub the 7K levels and all those other predictions that we were just maybe potentially early on. So all options remain open. I am of the view that this could, if it went apeshit, run the 20K. I don't feel that. I think it's a low option percentage wise. It could go marginally higher but make what we're expecting as a target in and around the 15.5 and do that. It could fizzle at what we call our second interim before and then start selling off. We'll jump out real quickly if we don't like the price behavior, if we happen to be long still and we're gaining ground. It could mess around in this zone of 10.949. The selling stopped. It didn't make the 11K up here. So we could mess around and get tight again. And you know, when the guys start posting tweets, trading Bitcoin's like watching paint dry. That's when you know you're about to break out. It's literally defying. He's defying the markets to actually do something. So we might go quiet and dull again in and around the 10.4 levels, and people are going to be going, Jesus Christ, I think I'll look somewhere else and do something else. And they stop watching and they don't set their alerts on their trading view, and they don't get the little peeps that you were seeing me getting, and next thing they know, oh damn, they check that and they've missed out on something. So here's where we are. Buyers bull because of the falling wedge. For now, any sign of reverting back to this 10K level again, and that's a worry from the compression side, and you could very quickly revert bear if it starts setting up, if it came down really, really hard. So bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Bear. How do you make a bear noise? I don't know. Anyway, so bear it in mind. We could easily flip again. The whole thing is, this is an ambiguous pattern. It can break a floor. It can often have set up the equivalent of new setups in a new trend, which is reversal down just as much as it could be up. And that's why it's been such a little bitch of structure. But anyway, we trade what we see and we flip if we have to, even if that means we are like a, I don't know, a cheese toasty that's been reheated many times. Enough of this. Watch out, bull bias for now. Unless something else happens that requires reassessment for momentum. The wedges keep resolving to the upside is the key message. And for now, we are drifting into this range. 10,949 will constitute a new move to the upside. But beware, don't overstay your welcome in any signs of weaknesses. There's been some strong selling at those higher levels that compress the structure down. They may not have gone wholly away. We're still not that far away from the 10K levels, which is the key level where we've once again tested and found support for now on. But the follow through on that support has not always been there. And this can age very badly with a sell-off across the tops as well. Okay, that's your update on crypto. By the way, pop on to themarketsniper.com if you want to become part of our community and all of that. Good stuff, only for those that are accepting their own outcomes. And this is non-advisory, by the way. Small little itsy beanie longs of a nibbly nature. Lots more to happen. Far from being the end of the story, I fear. Okay, enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Talk to you all again soon. By the way, gold and silver link below. Scandinavian Capital Markets below if you want to trade higher leverage but have a nice solidity of Europe, all that good stuff. Speak to you then. Splurge to tell you something. I forgot a very key important point to tell you about Bitcoin and the dominance chart. This is the dominance chart. This was really significant. Lots of people calling, oh, the end of dominance, alt season's got to come, all of this. I think they're premature and they're early. And it can go on longer. Trends persist. Again, recording this in our theory. Trends persist. Just because it's been going on a long time, people start to get anxious and they want to start calling the end. It ain't over till it says it's over. And with reference to this, we had a structural pattern that gave us the high of 73. That's where we were telling you that it would go on the levels of the dominance. What happens after that? It has a rest. You might even spot with your little eye, I spy, the minuscule little first little monarch head and shoulder tip in there that leads to the pullback. That even saw some alts doing better, of course, as implied by this, as a result of it. And where did it stop and where did it bounce? Again, key levels of significance, just recording, re-recording all of this key topic of our method. Where did it bounce? You guessed it, on our second interim of that, where it paused on the way up, which was resistance over here. That's where it bounced on the way down. Yes, and now it's recycling back up. All those that have said Bitcoin dominance is over are unfortunately wrong. It isn't necessarily over. I say wrong. They might be right. Look, if it sells off suddenly here like a monster, I'll be eating my hat and looking silly again. That's okay. It happens often enough. But the point is, this is rounded bottoming. That was, as I've said, a micro or a mini monarch head and shoulders. We call them monarch. There's a special reason for them. You can find out more on the course, but I didn't cover Bitcoin dominance, and it had met a target. And what's it probably going to do? I suspect it's going to set up new structure. It'll tap out at some point and come back down again. Everyone will be alt season again. Only to be disappointed again, in my opinion, I think, because this is very good structure for upside. Eventually, we'll definitely be wrong on this. but we're going to keep going until we're wrong on the Bitcoin dominance theme. And dominance for Bitcoin is good for bullish side. So if you're bullish, so far the only thing that drives upside market is Bitcoin dominance. So be careful what you wish for. Get the Bitcoin dominance. The pullbacks in dominance have actually been poor for the alts and doubly poor for Bitcoin during those short periods. But if you, as I say, we continue and you get, let's see, check out structure again. So beautiful, so beautiful. What a method. You really should invest in learning how to employ it, and don't think you've learned it because you've seen it flashed here. You certainly haven't. Wow, we're doing intermediate, beginners and advanced. There is so much to implementing it correctly. But what I would say is you might get a second and then you drift off, and we might get another structural setup. So what do you then have? Just as a warning, 71.75 all the way up to 73.5, you've got yourself another kind of 2% in terms of amplitude to bump up from here. 72.70 plus another 2%. It often overperforms a little bit. You could be 74/75% Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin will be higher, the alts will be lower. You'll have underperformed in alts. You may have gone flat or even slightly down as Bitcoin, the honey badger, hoovers up all the cash. Dominance ain't over, fellas. It will end. It will end. And we'll be wrong when it ends, almost certainly, because we're going to keep backing a winning theme until the point of failure. Failure is just a feedback mechanism saying you currently got the wrong view. That's all that happens. And if you keep getting feedbacks for having the wrong view, you flip a little bit more often than you do, it costs you money. Those are the setups you want to try avoid. That was that descending triangle. I won't revisit that. But dominance, I would expect, is going to go higher in general. So watch out for that calming period between the 71.75 and the 73%. It's going to go up, it's going to go a little bit up, go a little bit down. It may just pump, it doesn't have to do that, and it could even exceptionally dump, but it's not looking like doing that right now. That was the aspect of the video I wanted to give you a heads up on, and now you've seen it, and now you know. Okay, Godspeed. May you make money in the crypto markets. Be safe. Not advice, all the good stuff. Okay, catch you later. And this little addendum was forgotten, so apologies for it not being in the original video. Bye.